Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning from wherever you are watching. And this is Zuzana Mukumai from Intercultural Relationships, Celebrate Your Differences. And today I have another exciting guest. Hello, Anna, how are you doing?
Hi, Susanna. Nice to see you again.
Yes, and I am so happy to see you as well because we have known each other for a while. And today we are going to talk about traveling, relationships. And before we jump in, Anna, can you tell us something about yourself? Who are you? What are you doing?
Sure, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to your audience and to see you on camera. My name is Anna Fishman. I own, as you can see under my name, I own a Lagana travel boutique. So we are a boutique luxury travel company specializing in European custom-made vacations. It's been my lifelong dream to create this kind of business and to be able to travel with my family, with my two boys. I have two sons, 1 and 7-year-old boys, and I'm married to a fantastic man who's from a little bit of a different culture, but we have a lot of similarities. I'm from Ukraine originally, and he's from Belorussia. So we do have very similar cultures, but there is a little bit of differences that we can like happy to discuss more.
Yes, I'm sure we will get into it. And as I already said, today we are going to talk about relationship, about travelings. And you said it was your lifelong dream to have a travel boutique. So can you tell us more about your story? How come that you started your own business about traveling and what traveling means to you personally?
Sure. I apologize for getting over a cold, so hope I don't cough and sneeze too much on the stream. Travel has always been my go-to in good times and in bad times. And I've always wanted to have my own business. So travel was one part of my life and business dream was another part of my life. And I never thought that it would be combined together until I had my first son. And it was a bit of a challenging pregnancy and delivery. And we ended up 3 days in NICU when he was born, something that I didn't expect. And for those who maybe don't know what NICU is, it's kind of like intensive care unit for babies. So he was born and he was totally fine until the first night they took him away. And as a new mom, I had no idea what was happening. I had no idea if he's going to be okay or not. It was very stressful. It was very scary. And it was one of those moments where your whole life flashes in front of you. And you don't know if he's going to be in NICU 3 hours, 3 days, or 3 years, or 30 years. Like you don't know what's going to happen. And in that moment, something flipped in my head and I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Like I'm not happy with my job. I am not excited to wake up every morning to go to the office. I'm almost 30 years old and I'm like just like going with the flow. Like I need to change something. And of course, it wasn't the time to change anything when your baby is in NICU. Thank God it was only 3 days, which felt like 30 years. And I probably lost 30 years of my life during those 3 days. He was totally fine. He was just acting like a preemie. So he needed a little bit of help. We went home. I spent the whole summer. He was born at the end of May. I spent the whole summer with him at home, constantly thinking, I'm like, I need to change something. I need to do something. I've been wanting to start my own business. I need to do something. And I went from every crazy idea possible, from opening a coffee shop to having a paint studio, like everything in between. And then my maternity leave ended and I went back to work and I entered the worst depression that I have ever thought was possible. It was probably part postpartum, part just depression in life. And because I didn't see my baby, I would leave, it was dark, he was still sleeping. I would come home from work, it was dark, he's already sleeping. And I was like, why? Like, what am I doing? Like, again, that's question, like, what am I doing with my life? Why am I working so hard on I live in New Jersey on the East Coast of the United States. I was commuting to New York City almost 2 hours each way, almost 4 hours every day I'm spending on a train, and I'm seeing my baby for like 30 minutes at best. Like, why? And like I would come home and hold his sleeping body in my hands in the dark in the room. I would like take him out of the crib and just hold him so I would like feel him because I had no time to spend with him. And I would sit and cry. And one day my husband walked in and he's like, oh my God, what's wrong? You're sitting in the dark with holding a baby and crying. Like it was so scary. And I couldn't tell him what's wrong. I couldn't explain because on paper everything was great. Healthy baby, amazing husband, new home, okay job. Like on paper everything was great, but I was miserable. And I had this moment of, I don't know what to call it, clarity or aha moment, or I was like, if nothing mattered, if it wasn't about paying the mortgage or how taking care of the baby, what would I do with my life? And travel was the first thing that came to my mind. And I'm like, that's great, but I can't wake up the next morning and get on the plane and just leave everything, right? But in that moment of crying in the dark, I gave myself a promise that I will figure out a way how to incorporate travel to be more part of my life than just 2-week vacation every year. And the next morning I woke up and I opened Google and I said, hey, Google, how do you start a travel company? And the rest is history.
That's like, thank you for sharing. At one point, I was also about to cry when you were describing. So thank you for being so vulnerable and open, because I think lots of us go through similar things. And me actually, like, also the moment when I start thinking maybe I should do something else than I used to do. I spent 8 years doing humanitarian work and cooperation, and actually things start changing when I had my baby, who was also in the intensive care, like for I think 3 days. Like I didn't even see him when he was born. Like they showed him to me the day after, so I completely understand how hard was it. And it's amazing that like actually you have done the change, and as you said, the rest is the history. And with this, actually, whoever is watching, like you can do the same change. Like as you said, like what are we doing with our lives then when we are not happy?
Yeah.
And that actually, yeah, I think we diverted. We said we will talk about traveling, but we start talking about the meaning of the life, which is super important as well. And I wanted to ask you how, because like lots of women who are watching, they probably live abroad, they don't live in their own country, they have a partner from different culture, and as you said yourself, you are from Ukraine, your husband from Belorussia, you both live in the United States. um, what are, according to you, like the challenges couples face when you are not living in your home country? Maybe like all the story you were sharing, like did it also display a role in it that both of you are in a third country as compared to where you come from?
Yeah, I think it absolutely makes a difference. Between Russian, Belarusian, Ukrainian cultures, there's not a whole lot of differences. I always joke, or my husband, I should say, always jokes that like he's from a city and I'm from a village, and like I'm a village girl, and like I don't take offense on that because I'm from a tiny town of 8,000 people population, and he's from, I don't know, looking at him, how many people lived in your town? Like hundreds of thousands in your city. So there is a little bit of that, like joking, kind of, teasing each other. And now we live in the village again. We're in the tiny town of 8,000 people population. So I think between our specific backgrounds and cultures, it's not that big of a difference. But coming from Eastern Europe to America, the culture differences are massive. And I think for me, I can't speak for my husband, but for me, even when I was dating, like when I was just like becoming uh entering the dating scene, it was really hard for me to date American guys because I felt like they don't understand me. I spoke English, like I was fluent, and I could joke, and we could like talk about dinners and vacations and whatnot. We could have like the same outlooks on life, but I just felt like there was some kind of disconnect. I could never explain it. And now that I am married a Russian speaking Jewish guy from Belorussia, and I'm a Russian speaking Jewish girl from Ukraine living in America, there is a challenge of like, how do we raise our kids? Like, what values do we bring from our childhood, from our culture to give our kids? Like, do I try to speak to my kids in Russian because that's my first language? And it's funny because when my first son, when Ruben was born, I had to speak Russian to him because I was like, he's not going to understand English. He's a baby. He was just born. He doesn't understand any language. But my maternal instinct was like, I just have to speak Russian to him. And the same thing with my second son, who's 18 months now. I 99% speak Russian to him because I feel like that's my native way of communicating with him. Because like speaking English is, even though like I speak English most of my day, and it's probably my Russian is butchered now and has like, there's Spanglish between Spanish and English. I have that version of Russian language which is no longer clean and pure, but it feels more native to me in that way. And I feel like it's important to give our kids the language so they understand, so they are connected to the culture. And we're always trying with my husband to figure out like what parts of our background, our culture, our Russian Jewish roots, what do we take from there and give our kids, and what do we take from the American everyday life and values in the country that we live, and what do we give them from that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's super interesting because I love the fact like when we are from different culture, we live in another country. I love that we have somehow more freedom to choose what we want to teach our children and what kind of customs or beliefs we want to share. So, like in my case, it's still kind of weird mixture because our son is quite small, and I was not very strong with Czech culture of things. But I love that I can actually choose like to celebrate Christmas and Easter, but then on Easter I skipped some weird traditions we have in Czech Republic because I don't like them. So you said it was one of your like biggest challenge. So how what would be your tip for women who are in like similar situation? Like, what would be your advice? How to go about it in the best way?
I would say be flexible, and do what makes sense for your family, because there is no right or wrong. Something that would make sense for my family doesn't make sense for somebody else. I like that you brought up Christmas example. I can give you a counter example about Christmas, because we're a Jewish family and we don't celebrate Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
But we celebrate New Year's. And in the Russian tradition, you celebrate New Year's with a New Year's tree, which is exactly the same as Christmas tree.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a story that I loved that like back in the day, one of the Tsars went to Europe and he loved the Christmas trees and he brought it to Russia. But then like when I think Bolsheviks came and the revolution happened, they said, we like the trees, but we're going to take it with the religious component out of it. And it's going to be not Christmas tree, it's going to be New Year's tree. So I grew up with the New Year's tree, never knowing that it's a Christmas tree actually. So here, my son was very confused. He's like, we don't celebrate Christmas, but we have a Christmas tree in the house. Like he was like, but I don't get gifts on Christmas. So it was cultural confusion for this child. He's like, all my friends celebrate Christmas. So I was like, you know what? Yes, we don't celebrate Christmas because we don't believe in the religious component of that. But I'm like, I'm going to create a new tradition. So my son has a lot of friends who celebrate Christmas. And I said, your friend Sawyer, who celebrates Christmas, Sawyer actually celebrates Christmas and Hanukkah because his parents are half and half. Said, Sawyer had Santa come and bring him gifts on Christmas. But Sawyer knows that you have been a great boy this year. And he asked Santa to stop by our house and drop off one gift for you as well. So I made this whole story, this whole new tradition that if he's a good boy, Santa's going to come not on New Year's Eve. It's Grandpa Frost who's coming because that's the Russian tradition. So he brings.
Yeah, I know, Deda Mraz, right?
Yeah. But on Christmas Eve, I even made I put the fake snow on the floor and I made like the steps from Santa. I said, Sawyer, like one of your friends asked Santa to swing by and give you a gift. So he was so excited. There is no religious component to this. I don't feel like I'm betraying my Jewish roots or I'm making fun of of Christmas, but I created a whole new tradition. So I think my advice would be flexible, be creative, and follow your heart. Go with what makes sense for your family. Don't worry about like, oh, this is not how like our grandparents used to do it.
Yeah, I completely agree with do what fits for your family, because often I think there are lots of conflicts in the couples because we have some kind of way in our mind how things should be done. But for me, I like saying like, who cares how you do it in your family as far as it works for you. And talking about the traditions, I read it somewhere and I really like it. And it was a kind of concept that somebody took like every month, pick one holidays from all over the world to kind of like celebrate it at home. And I really like it. So this year I want to try to make a pumpkin for Halloween. Like for me, I come from Czech Republic, so also like Europe. Halloween doesn't mean anything to us. Like we don't celebrate it. We celebrate the day of the dead people. I don't know how to translate in English properly, on the 1st of November, but it's about going to the cemetery to say like hello to your relatives who died. So it's completely different than the Halloween, but I want to try to do it this year here in Zambia, because first we don't have so many activities here, so I am kind of every time thinking what we can do, and we have lots of pumpkins, so I really want to try that, and I'm curious how it will go. And I love your example as well about the Santa dropping by, and yeah, I think it's really about how we do things that it works for us.
100%. I think your son will love carving a pumpkin. It's such a fun thing
Yeah,
to
I hope it doesn't end up with cut fingers, because the pumpkins here are really hard. I don't know how about the
do.
American pumpkin. So, okay, I might reach out if I need advice how to cut a pumpkin. And Anna, about traveling. So, does your husband also share the passion for traveling?
He has no choice. I tell him where to show up at the airport and he shows up.
Because actually, Mhm.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I wanted to ask because traveling, it can be hard. And if you travel with somebody, you have to be quite good team. I always like sharing the example. I have my best friend. She's amazing. I love her. If she's watching, I hope she doesn't kill me for sharing this. But we are a disaster when we travel together. Like it's impossible to do it. So we have like one bigger trip together in Greece, and it was just terrible because both of us has completely different style of traveling. So my question was like, if since traveling it requires quite good team, so since you are organizing amazing trips to Europe for couples also, if I understood well, so I wanted to ask you, what are usually the challenges the couples face when traveling together, and also what to do if you love traveling and your partner hates it.
Change your partner. No, I'm kidding. So my husband likes to travel. He's not as big of a fanatic of it as I am. But I think being with me for so many years, we've been together for more than 15 years now, he kind of like it grew on him because I've spoiled him and I've showed him really good time when we travel. But our very, very first trip was a few months after we met. And I've always said that I will never marry anyone that I haven't traveled with. Like I was like, I don't care if we live together. I don't care if we from the same culture, but I have to travel with him first before I can make any kind of lifelong commitment. Because you're right, like traveling together is such a different experience. You may know people for years and you may understand them in certain ways and share the same values and beliefs and experiences, but you may travel completely different together. Luckily, my husband and I, we like very similar when we travel, and we can get on the same page and compromise. Compromise is a very big thing because I work with couples all the time. I plan honeymoons for people, and I get like this on the video call with them, and I'm like, what do you guys like to do? And she goes, I love museums. And he's like,
That's me. I hate museums.
or he says, I want to go like I don't know, skydiving. And she's like, oh my god, I would like never. So it's a compromise. It's finding something that you can do together. Maybe if he loves wine and you love museums, maybe you can do like an express tour through Louvre in Paris, like an hour and a half, like super quick, see the Mona Lisa, see a few other pieces of art, and in and out. So you can put a check mark that you've seen it, but then finish the day with wine tasting. So find like a combination. Or, maybe like if one person wants to lay on the beach and another person wants to explore more, maybe you have a few days on the beach to relax and then a few days of a few hours of activity. It's all about compromise. It's all about respecting the other person's wishes and dreams. I'm sure my husband would be more excited to lay on the beach and just relax versus going to every single, shoe store in Portugal. But he tags along because he knows that I would enjoy it. And then when he wants to watch a football game at the hotel bar or restaurant, I'll give him that opportunity to do that and I'll go read a book. So it's all about compromise. It's all about respecting the other person's wishes, regardless if you're traveling or if you're at home. I think it just goes the same way. But traveling definitely adds more challenges because it's unknown destination. It's stressful. It's different time zone, different language. So like how people react to different situations definitely shows their true colors, if you will.
Yeah, it actually just gave me the idea that if we would want to really know how the person might be, like the traveling could be kind of microcosm
Yeah.
for like discovering like how you function together under stress or how you compromise. For example, I was laughing when you mentioned the museums because my ex-partner, he loved museums and I hated it. Um, I think in my life I liked one museum in Ethiopia, in Addis Ababa, because I find them kind of boring. But the compromise was he went to the museum. I remember specific case. It was in Zanzibar. And so he went to his museum, and I just spent time sitting on the promenade with my book, watching the sea, and everybody was happy.
There you go. It was a compromise. You found a situation
Exactly.
where both were happy.
Yeah, and why I ask the question of like what to do if you love traveling and your partner hates it. I ask actually because of my husband. I would say he does not hate traveling, but when he goes traveling, it's just because of me. Like he would never go traveling alone. But luckily, when we go, he enjoys it, and then he's that kind of person to tell me you can plan everything, I just do what you want to do. So that kind of also works because I am the kind of planning person and I can plan everything I want to do, and then he just tags alone. And as you said, like with the soccer game,
Mm.
that we feel like often, no, I'm on holidays, I can't watch like soccer game, it's such a waste of time. But it's so important to actually allow the other person to also have these moments, because for them it's not waste of time.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's my husband in the back sneaking in and out.
Yeah, yeah, I was watching, pity we didn't see him.
Yeah,
We
because
could.
we're sharing an office, and I asked him like, please be quiet and don't ruin my my interview. I was gonna say, if you asked like what to do if your partner hates traveling, and well, if you're a woman, you can leave your partner at home and come on one of my women only group trips, because that's kind of like where the idea came from. Not that my husband hates traveling, but we have so many interests that are different. Like I love to cook, and he doesn't know how to boil an egg, which I'm lying. He learned how to do that now that we have 2 kids, so I should give him the credit. But he's not a chef, he's not a cook, he's not into that. And I love to cook. So I'm taking a group of women that I dreamed up this trip while during pandemic, when all I was doing was cooking and watching TV. I dreamed up the trip of like, I want to go to Italy and learn how to cook Italian food, how to make pasta from scratch, how to, I don't know, see how they make olive oil. So I put together a group of women. I felt like I would be more comfortable just with women. And we're leaving next week on this 9-day culinary adventure through Italy. And my husband's like, go enjoy. Like, you're going to be in your element. You're going to have fun. So I was like, I think this is going to be a thing now. So every kind of experience, every kind of destination or trip idea where I know like my boys, and I call my sons and my husband my boys, any kind of experience that they would hate, that could care less about, I'm doing that as a girls trip. Because there's no need for me to like kill my dream just because they don't want to go. I'll take them on plenty other experiences through trains and automobiles and all kinds of fun boys things and sports. But if I want to see the castles, like I took a group of women to see Outlander filming locations, because I'm a big fan of Outlander show, and my boys could care less about that. And the castles, like whatever, stones, it's boring. But I was like, I want to see where the show was filmed, so I put together a women's group, and we're going. So that's not necessarily to travel with me, but if you're a woman and you want to experience Europe in different ways, and maybe your partner is not really into that, come join me in one of my women's groups, or find another opportunity to. You don't have to be like attached to your hip and do everything together. Like I love traveling with my husband, but traveling with my girlfriends, traveling with women is a whole different experience. And like I don't guilt myself for doing it. I come back a better mom. I come back a better wife. I come back a better businesswoman, and my boys actually get a chance to miss me, so that works too.
Yeah, I actually love that you are mentioning it, because sometimes we have this feeling we have to do everything together with our partners, with our family. But I was just thinking about traveling this week because I was doing interview with amazing lady. She's from Czech Republic. She has been living in South Korea for the last 11 years, and I was always attracted to that part of Asia. And then we were talking about how is the life there. Then she sent me the pictures like, I have to go. This is like right now it must be on the top of my bucket list. And I was thinking, when when the time is right, I can still go even with my son, and it will be still fun. Like it's there is no need to force people who wouldn't enjoy it with
Yeah.
us, because then also we get affected because the person will be grumpy and like. So I'm really happy that you mentioned it, that the options are there. We can travel solo, we can travel with the girlfriends and still enjoy it. And actually that point you said that the boys get to miss you, that I think is also really important.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm giving them an opportunity to do so.
And actually, you touched my last question with this, because I was about to ask, like, if you think travel is important for the well-being couple, and you just mentioned when you come back from a trip, you come back as a better mom, as better wife. So, if you want to add something to this, because I think it's also important aspect to think about traveling.
100%. Travel is such a major reset point, at least for me, and I think for a lot of people. Just changing the scenery in front of your eyes like clears your mind and gives you a different perspective. Like I love, to me it's magic when you get on the plane and a few hours later you get off the plane and you're in a whole different world. It's magic to me. Like I understand it's science, I understand, like, we're traveling through like dimensions and everything, but it's magic. Like I love seeing different cultures, I love seeing eating different food, hearing different language. I think if we traveled more, there would be less wars. There would be less conflict. So people, I think, would understand each other more, would be more compassionate. We're so ingrained, especially in America, we're so like in our tunnel vision, like in our backyard, like what's happening right now with us, with our family, with our town, with our friends. There's a whole huge, amazing, incredible world out there. And I'm a big advocate for traveling with your kids. Doesn't matter how old they are, 5 or 25, like take them on the road, show them the world. You'll make them better people.
Yeah, that was beautiful. I was like, oh. Yeah, I completely agree, and I that's why also I love traveling, because like I think if you travel and you talk to people, you cannot hate people, as you mentioned. Like there would be less wars and understanding different culture. Like I just learned that in South Korea, the way they count the age, it's from the conception, and when the baby is born, it's already like 1 year, and then every 1st January another year is added. And I had no idea, and it's these things are super exciting. And then if you add the food, I love food. Like I think I would be about the level of cooking of your husband.
Yeah.
I'm from having dinner which was consisting of fried eggs, but I love eating.
I love fried
So
eggs. Nothing wrong with that. Breakfast for dinner, we call it here in the States.
yeah. So yeah, I think it's a beautiful thought for the end of the interview, that if we traveled more, we would have more peace. And Anna, you mentioned some amazing trips. You mentioned that you have done amazing trip to Scotland. Then you are going to Italy. If somebody is interested and they want to check out what you are doing, where they can find you.
I think the best way or the best place to find me is on Instagram. So it's at Daligana Travel Boutique, just like how you see it spelled
And
on
I
the.
will put the link also under the video.
Perfect. You can follow me through my Italy adventure starting next Friday, and you'll see like all the new updates about the new trips coming up next year. We're probably gonna go back to Scotland. I love that. I want to go back. Maybe we'll go to France. I'm thinking about Maldives, which is not Europe, but it's maybe something exciting to
Yeah.
bring to the table.
No, it sounds amazing. And watching your trip in Italy, I know it will be beautiful and painful because we won't be able to eat the food. But actually, I just discovered an Italian lady living here in Zambia, in our town, and she makes homemade tortellini. I just ordered like half kg to test it, so I'm super excited.
Let me know how you like that.
Yeah, I will. And I hope maybe one day you will start doing trips in Africa. So you get to come
Maybe.
here. That would be amazing to meet in person.
Absolutely. It would be.
And otherwise, thank you so much. It was super interesting. Thank you for your time. And maybe one day we have a continuation. And good luck with your Italy trip.
Thank you so much. This was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.